Hey everyone, it's Dion von Moltke here, and thanks to popular demand, I'm bringing back What Drivers Think segment. This is part 2 here. You're at Sebring International Raceway in the Stevenson number 9 Audi R8 LMS in one of the practice sessions. In fact, the first practice session from the weekend. I get a lot of questions all the time on, do you guys practice or what happens during a practice session? As you see, I'm trying to warm up the tires there and the car is really swirly. I'm going to take you through what I'm really thinking, what I'm feeling as I get going. My first laps of the weekend, it's been a while since I've driven. We've changed the cars. You see, we're out there trying to get a feel of what's happening. Going to overtake the Ferrari, trying to get heat in my tires and braking a little bit early. The earlier I can get heat in the tires, the quicker I can get back to my engineer and tell him what's going on. When you get to the professional level of racing, one of the biggest differences is practices really aren't for you as a driver to get up to speed and learn the track. It's to get to know the car, tell the engineer what's happening, and get that car as quick as possible. And throughout this, you're doing that, but you're also getting used to the flow of traffic as you see the Michael Shank LMP2 car pass me. And you saw earlier me trying to catch the car. It's very similar, I believe, in racing, for me at least. You often hear in American football after the first hit of a game, the player all of a sudden feels more comfortable. The first time you kind of have a small catch of the race car, you feel more comfortable in that environment as well. Going down now into turn 14, you can see my inputs are pretty rough right now. That's just trying to test where the front grip is in the car. You have sometimes multiple steering inputs while you're on cold tires. That helps try to get some heat, a little bit more heat in those front tires, especially as the Audi takes a little longer for the front tires to come up to temperature than some of the other cars you'll find at GTD. Now, first time through turn 17, how's the balance going to feel over the bumps? We've made some changes. You see it's already pretty bumpy, but this is where the bumps are really big. Big bumps over the last little bump there, kept it flat, out to the wall, down to the front straightaway. You've got some more temp in the tires. The first time through turn 1, full speed, you're really going to understand what the high-speed aero feels like. Let's see what it looks like. Going to catch some traffic, a little late in the throttle. You see there's that bump right at the edge. I didn't feel that the last time we drove at Sebring, so now I'm feeling a new bump and I'm thinking, okay, well, is that just cold tires now, or is it a new spring package that's maybe working somewhere else but hurting through turn 1 at the exit? So all of this is what we're thinking about as drivers while we're in the practice session. We've got to be able to relay that back to the engineer while we're driving, working traffic, and figure out what's going to work best for multiple scenarios here. Deep on the brakes here into turn 7. Again, can't quite go as deep as I'd like to yet. The tires are still coming to temperature. You'll notice as well, I noticed it, this session I'm turning too late in turn 7. I'm turning where I was turning during the test days. It's not working right now, but I'm trying to get it to work. I found out after the session we can go look at data, compare things. Hey, turn a little earlier than what feels normal, and it'll start to work. So as a driver in the session, sometimes you get stuck in certain flows, and it's hard to break out of them, and that's where we look at data and video in between sessions, and that's where we learn to build ourselves as drivers. And you see there in turn 13, the bumps are really affecting the car. I have to catch it on exit more than I want. And then again, working traffic there, you'll see I breathe out of the throttle, let them by. Again, breathing out of the throttle here to let that LMP2 Mazda by. I'm doing that there because if I'd kept on the throttle, he would have overtaken me right now, and then I would have been just screwed all the way down this long straightaway. So even during the practice sessions, we're treating it like a race because those guys are getting the ideas from us where we want them to pass, where we don't want them to pass. So we're not just letting them by. We're going to show the rhythm between the two cars. Back into turn 17, going deeper on the brakes this lap. Let's see if I pick up the throttle any earlier, a little earlier. Big bumps, big catches. More than I want there. I need a bit more of a compliant car. So you'll see I'll talk to my engineer on the front straightaway, relay that information, and now it's been a lot of traffic. If I get a clean lap, then we can really figure out what's happening here. See, turn 1, am I going to get that bump again on exit? Yes, a little bit better this lap. I kept it more narrow, so I adapted my driving style, but I still don't really like what's going on there. I need to change something there, whether it's going to be setup or driving. In the weekend, we tried to change the setup because it just wasn't a very drivable car on the exit of 1. Listen to that V10 roar down the straightaway here. See if I get a little bit deeper here on the brake zone. The tires are back up to temp now. Yes, inside the 400 board. turning it in there. Again, just a little late. Back to throttle, it's costing me a few tenths there. You'll notice all the switches on the steering wheel, I haven't had to touch them very much yet. Once we get the car in the right settings with the TC ABS, we're generally in the pretty same spot, so I don't need to actually touch it very much. It's only at the start of weekends or at the start of a stint to the end of the stint where we're playing a little bit with traction control and ABS, but in reality, during a practice session, we're not playing with that as much as some might think. Back to turn 13. Looked a little bit better there on exit this lap, but delayed that throttle application. So while as a driver, maybe I have to change the driving style to match what the car is doing. It's probably not what I want to be doing, but you have to optimize what you have to get a good lap time out of it. Now, down to turn 16 here, one of the most important corners on the track, getting it down, little understeer, throttling out, use all of that road. Quick moment to breathe, think about, there you see I play a little bit there, probably turning the traction control down one notch now that I'm feeling comfortable, and that's probably all I'll do this whole session here. You see the lights coming in from the rear view camera. Is that car going to try to overtake me here? He's going to look to the inside. I know he looks to the inside, but I don't want him to pass him there. I'm going to drive my line, and then we're going to come out onto the front straightaway. Now it's the Ford GT trying to pass me. The GTLM cars turn down their power just a little bit in practice with the same straight line speed. You'll see there, I lift off the throttle trying to let them by so that we can turn both into turn one at the same speed. I pretty much achieved that, although the aero, I get more understeer there than I used to get, so I have to apply that to know what's going to happen here. You'll see the grip difference there between the GTLM and GT3 car. A lot of that is downforce, but a lot of that's also tire grip. They've got a tire war, so they're able to have softer tires. Where in GTD, we're all on the same spec tires, a little bit harder of a tire, don't quite the same grip, and that's where a lot of the difference between the two classes comes from. So you'll start to see here all the traffic stuff that we're thinking about throughout a race, where he's quicker, we know where he's quicker. So once the race starts, we have a better understanding of what to expect and what to do in a situation. You'll see this is where it gets really tricky. A car's gone off in front of us, and I'm also being overtaken to the inside. So I don't think that car on the inside knows that that guy's off there. So you just have to be a little bit more careful and cautious, and that's where you know the scenarios and see what to do and how to play things there. So ride on for the rest of the lap. Again, this is Dion von Moltke. I hope you enjoyed some insights, and thanks for watching, and we'll see you at the next race.